Yo, what's up? What's the dealio? Let some people come in here. I'm gonna mute it. Let me call some people. Come on in here. Come on. Hold on, wait for some more people to get in here. Shalom, we in here, people. Yes, sir. Come on in. I'm letting some more people come in. Hold on. I'm in the bind, Nate. Yep, that's what the avatar for many bitch who talking shit, and you just give them that look. I need this, like. Yeah, okay, bitch. We know you're gonna blow the money. You're not good with money. Y'all suck with money. That's why they try to make y'all be a part of child support. 2 more minutes, 2 more minutes, fellas. 2 more minutes. Let me light me up a cigar and pour me out some more whiskey. I had another death in the family, but we gonna celebrate. I'm going to celebrate his homecoming. He was 92 years old. But like I say, fellas, we in here. 2 more minutes. Few more seconds, people. Few more seconds. Few more seconds. Drink some of this, Jack. Cheers to JC. I'm gonna light up a cigar. Oh man. Cheers, JC, and everybody that came in. You know, I got to give it to you. I only helped you a little portion, but you know what? You the real MVP, brother. Real talk. You didn't bitch. You didn't moan and complain. We went to the law library together. You did your thing. I was working on other stuff. And I told you just enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Go have fun. Look what happened. Let the bitch stress. That's one thing he learned. Let the bitch stress out. You know what I mean? Let them worry. Because they begging. Mm-hmm. JC know the law better than any other motherfucker on this motherfucking app. Any app. Any app. Hold on. Let me check my messages. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me go get my phone. Wait a minute. Yeah, JC, come on in. Yeah, come on in, man. Let me put the invite in there. Whatchamacallit. Wait a minute. Share my link. Let me see. Can I invite you from here? Wait a minute. Let me see some. I'm gonna share the link in the whatchamacallit. And then I'm gonna put the screenshot up that y'all see. There's the link to come in. Let me see. Present an invite. Invite guests. That ain't it. I got it right here. Hold on. Copy. Copy. Let me see some. Hold on. All right, he say he coming. Let me share the whatchamacallit. Let me pull up the whatchamacallit. Let me see. Hold on, man. Y'all gotta bear with me. I ain't been on this thing in a long time. Notes, private chat. Let me see. Oh no, stay. Okay, I got it right here. Image file. Hold on. Recent. Open. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see that? Bingo. Y'all see that? I don't think it'll let me zoom in. Let me see. Hold on, let me see. Let me see, can I zoom in? Hold on, let me get it off. Wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, what's up, man? What's up, man? Can you hear me? Yo, hold on. Can't hear you. I don't know what happened. Wait a minute. What fucking happened? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, he said technical issues, people. Wait a minute. I gotta do something over. Hold on. Let him tell y'all. But yeah, this is gonna be good. This will be just a good testimony, people. More people still coming in. The fuck? There we go. Bam. There you go.
You hear
Yo,
me?
yeah,
Finally, I had to do some adjustments. Sorry, man. I don't know. Technology nowadays.
yep. Technology sucks, starting to suck more. What's going on, bro?
How you doing? Shalom, shalom to every Sham Stopper member. It's been a long time.
A
I hope
long
all this,
time.
I hope all this time we have had some good testimonies from the followers.
Yeah,
You know, from the
yeah.
followers. Yeah, yeah. How you
So
holding
what's
up, man?
I'm holding up all right, man.
Yeah, you good?
I've been
Okay,
off
okay.
on.
All
Hmm.
right. Well, shalom to Pan Eater, G Alex, and brother Kish. Everybody, Sham Stoppers, everybody who stands their ground, right?
Hmm.
Everybody who doesn't give up at the first threatening letter or threat that these parasites, because that's what they are, man. These parasites want to make to you so that way they can induce you, they can get you back into their program, into their system. Yeah. You s- Remember when I first joined Sham Stoppers, I learned that the word is no. That's what we say to people. When we don't want to do anything, we just say no. No explanations, no excuses, none of that. Just no.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. You know. So, what's going on today? What are we doing, man?
It's you. Tell
It's
everybody what
me.
was. Tell everybody what was going on. How
All
you
right.
know?
Oh, Flex and Freedom. How you doing? Yeah. Uh, well, let's explain a little bit of the program here. So, gentlemen who are here, still struggling, sometimes in the state where the baby mama went and apply for the services, just like you apply for a phone service, for insurance services, or any type of service. Well, the government is providing also a service. There are people who try to use the sovereign citizenship things and whatnot, right? And they'll tell you, Oh, the private and public law. Well, it applies, but remember, a service can be offered by the government in a private capacity, or it can be offered by private parties. It's right there in your notice of withholding. It tells you who sends you, what is the agency, the name of the agency, or the person who's requesting that withholding. For those of you who are W-2 employees, right? So if you're able to decipher that, to comprehend, because comprehend the writing, the English language, get yourself a dictionary, just like we told you from the beginning. Brother Wasil's been telling you from the beginning. Get yourself a dictionary, even a simple Webster's dictionary, right? And if you get the definitions of every word that's put on a piece of paper, you're going to be able to comprehend what it is that they're telling you. Anyways, so which is what I just explained to you in the notice of withholding. We've been in this battle for what, a decade now, brothers and sisters, because there are some sisters who are also placed in this scheme. They're suckered into this scheme by a deadbeat. Those are the real deadbeat dads, by the way. Those who won't apply for child support and try to get child support from the baby mamas. Those are the real deadbeats, not those who refuse child support to pay child support. The ones who refuse to pay child support is because we are not going to feed leeches, able bodies. Okay, we live in the greatest land in the United States of America. This is the only country, ladies and gentlemen, where they have to guarantee you process. That's why it says due process. Pay your dues. The government owes you. It's due a process. They owe you a process. That's in the Fifth Amendment. And furthermore, you go to the 14th Amendment, it says that no state shall make or enforce any law, nor shall any state deny any person or deprive any person, any, doesn't mean if you're legal, illegal, you're an alien from Mars, from Jupiter, whatever they want to call you as an alien. They still owe you process. And what is that process? A notice and a hearing. And when they don't do that, they go what in legal terms is called the back door. This is not legal advice. I'm just explaining to you what I learned throughout this process, right? They try to go through the back door, right? And get in there when they try to skip this process, simple steps, notice and a hearing, right? When they try to skip that step, it's called violation of due process. Those are procedural due process. Then you have substantive or substantial due process, which is stuff that is created based on jargon that's thrown in court, right? But we're not going to get too deep into that. So they keep throwing this at you, all these man AI scholars. Because I don't know if you heard about this, brother Wasil, but they a couple of law firms just got sanctioned. I don't know which court sanctioned them because they
Mhm.
try to use AI
Yeah. Yeah.
to to get case law for their pleadings, ladies and
Mhm.
gentlemen.
Mhm.
So so look what you're dealing with, man. Lazy people who go back to a phone, to a computer, and they expect a man-made object to give them the answer so they don't have to think anymore.
Yep.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm sorry, man. I'm going off the rails here, but when you see that as your and you use that as your, what you call it, as fuel for you to say, wait a minute, all that title, all that schooling, and you resort to AI, doesn't say a lot about how you got that title, right? As an attorney. Now, does it?
Right.
How many people try to use paperwork? How many people try to use the easy way out to get shit done. And what happens? They just create a worse. They just make the problem worse and worse and worse because now people don't take you seriously
Mm-hmm.
because you want to complicate shit.
Yes.
Sometimes we do. Depending, every case is different depending on the situation, the complexity of the case, right? But if one thing, there was a guy out there here in this YouTube platform that used to say, if law can provide anything, it will provide a remedy. The Constitution of the United States is the most intelligent document ever written in human history. The establishment of a republic where the government, and I don't know if I can use the B word here, BITCH, but the government and I don't know. I guess I'm gonna give you all some game. You only heard it in Sham Stoppers. The government and the banks are supposed to be your bitches, not the other way around. You're not supposed to be theirs. They're supposed to be yours, and you're supposed to pimp them.
Thank
Those who
you.
figure out the game know how to do this, and even if they're listening to me, Fed, state, governmental officials who come through here, try to do some Jedi thing. Hey, man, in this country, right? Anywhere any of us are in the world, as long as you were born or naturalized in the United States, you are afforded the same protections and the same rights. And the Constitution, it's a con document for con men of Congress. That's why it's called con. What is con? The opposite of pro. It's not Congress. It's not progress, right? It's Congress. So the Constitution is to con that institution called government, telling them swipe or no swiping. Don't touch me. Can't touch this. You can't touch that. So, anyways, I know I'm going around, but if I need to drop some truth bombs here, some truth bombs to prepare you with what I'm about to share with you. Everybody that's listening, they will try to dismantle you. They will try to push you down. They will try to dissuade you from looking for the truth. They will try to convince you that it's for the benefit of the children. They will try every method in the book. There's it's their sales pitch. They'll be a they'll send threats. In fact, brother Wasil, you remember a lawyer, a liar from the child support agency falsified an affidavit stating that they followed the process and they had a trial behind my back, an ex parte trial. hmm
Yep.
Little did they know we live in the age of technology, and anywhere in the world you can access records. That's why now they're trying to make it hard for people to access records, right? You either send somebody a court runner or whatever, and they want to take down your name to see who's asking for the public records when they're supposed to be public, accessible to the public, without you being required to provide your name or any information about the requester. Because, for example, in Texas, right? In Texas, the public has a constitutional right to access to the courts. The public,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different party in court proceedings. That means that you don't have to provide your name to the clerk, to the court clerk when you ask them for documents. None of that. So now what they do, some counties are trying to bypass that and making you register, get basically be part of the system to see who's getting what, because that's how they get your info to try to come the back door and get you the so-called due process. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so they're lazy. These are lazy people, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. These are lazy people, right? But at the end of the day, man, they're gonna make the same threats they make on TV with their advertisement, the false advertisement, like, "Oh, this person just went to jail for not paying child support." Oh, the sheriff's office is scheming people to come in for a some kind of you remember where they were doing gifts or something like that, or people winning some kind of lottery and people just showing up and they had child support warrants, and I'm putting quotations, right? So All that is nothing more than propaganda to scare you and punk you away from your rights.
Now I got a
And it's up
question.
to you. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I got a question.
Yeah,
Did you did you get a remedy through the state, or did you find your own remedy?
I found my own remedy.
So now, is the state gonna
The
give you a
state.
remedy to get rid of their
No, they're
government?
not gonna come and applaud you and say yes, you won. They don't like that, especially with a guy like me that wasn't even born in the United States, man.
Did
You
y'all hear
know,
that? This guy wasn't born in the United States, and he came over here and put the law in their motherfucking ass. How you like them apples?
you know. So, and by the way, I haven't watched the video. I think you made a video saying you want to go stand up to wife, but you don't stand up to child support. And I agree with the message, right? Be- because guess what, man? How can you protect somebody else's home without protecting yours first?
Thank you.
Hmm?
Shit. Yes. Yes. Dude, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah,
I remember you made a threat to them, and they got scared as shit, and they was just stuttering. That fat motherfucker was just stuttering like a motherfucker. You remember that?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a legal threat. They
Mm-hmm.
make quote unquote legal threats to you. Actually, they make the most illegal threats on you when they try to get child support from you.
Yeah.
But when you make legal threats, they start stuttering and they're like, "But well, what I'm trying to say and what I just said, sir," and it's like, right? Can you clarify that for me, sir? Um, I didn't get that. And
Yeah.
of course, they don't want to clarify it on the record because then it'll be contradictory. And what happens when you have a contradictory record? You have to have a new trial on the merits. The only country in the world that you have a jury trial in both civil and criminal proceedings. And for those of you who don't know, it was the great Thomas Jefferson who ensured the Seventh Amendment in controversies of $20 or more. A jury, a jury by a trial. I mean, a trial by a jury. I'm sorry, did not. What is it? Was afforded. I'm serious. He wanted to make sure that people had an impartial jury review the merits, not just one person, a judge. I'm gonna give you an example. Mexico. Mexico right now, you don't have the jury trial over there, just one judge. Dude, you're basically gonna have one person deciding the merits. He listening to a lot of cases, you name it, right? Would you think he's really gonna give a damn about you? Of course not. All he wants to get that case off the docket, move on. Just an example. In many other countries like that, they don't have juries. And so what happens? What happens is, they don't care what they decide. They don't care how they decide the merits. But in America, if you invoke a jury trial, look at your state legislatures, look at your state constitutions. It's right there, man. In Texas, every person has a right to a jury trial. That cannot be violated. That's a guaranteed right. And for those of you who don't know, that say the Constitution this, the federal Constitution that, guess what? The federal Constitution didn't exist until almost 10 years after the states separated from England, right? And they had their own constitution. So the federal Constitution was basically the child of the 13 states, the 13 Confederate states. It's right there in the Constitution. It didn't come to exist until later on. And they made sure, those people who formulated that Constitution, they made sure that the Constitution, federal law, and treaties of the United States were supreme. or preemptive over anything, right? And that every state, every judge in every state is bound by that constitution, and that no state legislature and no state constitution can ever be different or contrary to what's written in the federal constitution and federal law and the international treaties. Yes, I know it's a little off topic. I just represent myself in the administrative court for a license. It's still a court. They still owe you due process. Your info on the channel. Yeah, they brought the police up there like, uh huh. And so what? That's how they threaten you. I've been through these. They threaten you. The bailiff is just ready for that court to issue that order and say take him into custody, and they get right behind you, breathing behind your ear. It's a scare tactic. Yeah. See, Crippen times 765 knows what I'm talking about. He's got that experience. I've had that too, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, so it is all you do is just gotta stand your ground, listen to what they're saying, because anything that is being said can and will be used against people. I'm serious.
Yep.
You got so if I can guarantee you how you win child support, think of it as the line of numbers, right? You got zero, you're starting number zero, and you got positive numbers. Well, guess what? When you use a mirror effect from that zero, you're gonna see another side of numbers, right? That's what you call negative numbers. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. In other words, every positive has a negative, and vice versa. I know it's a little bit cliche, but if you
No,
have
it
this
ain't.
mindset like this man had, um, what is it? Crippen Time says here, they play dirty, and I use their dirty tactics for benefit. Exactly, because they are bound by a bunch of rules. These people are bound by the code of ethics, code of judicial ethics, the constitution, laws, uh, statutises or precedents. I mean, there's so many things they have to follow because the last thing they want to do is lose their bar number. The last thing they want to do is be sanctioned, suspended, you name it, because then nobody else wants to do business with them. The reputation will crumble. So if you're waiting for somebody, there's gonna be gentlemen that in the past through the sham stoppers, mm, they say journey, right? Because the sham stoppers process has been have been successful here. They just don't want problems. They're just like, I will just terminate the case right here. They send you termination letters, etc., etc. There'll be those of us who they want to make an example out of. Mm? And because we're really a threat to their free meal,
Mm-hmm.
they will. They'll push you. It's up to you if you let down. I didn't, but because I knew that one answer, I'm gonna give you all the answer. I knew that these people were using my baby mama for their benefit, and she didn't know that she was being used as a pawn. So when they finally got used of her, they discarded her and put her ass back to work. And that, ladies and gentlemen, DQ'd her, disqualified her from support services. Mm?
Amen.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Mm-hmm.
it. Oh, they tried the process here, the process that. We're gonna do this. You know how many lawyers, how many law firms I contacted said you can go to jail if you don't pay child support. Brother, how many times was I ever issued a warrant or taken to jail for non-payment of support that you know of?
None.
Thank you.
Not one time. not once. Because I'm gonna tell you something, and I gotta
Mm.
give it to you. If y'all need any help, y'all can hit him up on No Mas Child Support. Uh, he was just going at their ass. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. He showed me some shit too. I gotta be honest. He showed me some shit, some case law. He make Rick W paperwork look like a third, second grade homework. Like the homework she's talking about was an apple and an orange point. That's Rick W paperwork. But this dude here on the screen, he knows his fucking shit. You hear me?
And and for those who want to stand up to ICE before you stand up to child support, you're going to lose. You have to stand up to child support before you stand up to ICE. I have stood up to ICE. Hmm? Yes, I've suffered. I've suffered. Both sides, the state and the feds, from the feds. That kind of BS. But then little do they know that when you know the law, they're like, oh, not that guy. And they put you in a database, ladies and gentlemen. They will put you in a database. And there'll be that ignorant, stubborn cop who reads your plates, will pull you over and try to pull some kind of stunt because they're not aware of what's going on. And then, sure enough, they're like, oh shit. Once you start fighting them, they're like, oh, I made a mistake. Right. It's gonna come out that you fabricated a case just to try to get a traffic ticket, just to try to show something, to prove something. Because I told you you can't search me, you can't touch me, leave me the hell alone. You know,
I got
brother
some
Wasil
questions.
knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I got some questions. Can they
Yeah,
can they interfere with your parental rights?
no, they cannot ever, ever.
And what
No, and guess
constitutional
what?
amendment is that?
That is the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Ninth Amendment, and the 14th Amendment.
Y'all heard that? Y'all get a pen, write that shit down. Say it one more time. Somebody just came in here late. For interference of
First
parental
Amendment is the First Amendment, the freedom of association, also known as the right of the people to peaceably assemble. The Fourth Amendment, unreasonable searches and seizures. They can't seize you or deprive you, but seize you, take is a taking. They're taking something from you. So they're seizing something from you without reason. It has to be reasonable without a warrant. And with a warrant, they have to particularly describe what thing they're seizing from you or the person they're seizing from you. Because when they take custody of your children, what happens when you go to jail? You're taken into custody. Your body has been seized. So whose body is being seized under the Fourth Amendment? Your children when they take them. The baby mama takes them, the state takes them. That's a Fourth Amendment violation. Now, why say the baby mama takes them? Yeah, because when the baby mama takes them and then goes and asks the state for help, she is part of the state for purposes of color of law. Then you have the Fifth Amendment that no, neither shall any person be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the due process of the laws. And guess what? That's also called in legalese the Equal Protection Clause of the Fifth Amendment. It's silent because equal protection means to any person. It doesn't say just citizens or those extreme right wingers who don't know their butthole from their brain, right? Or from their mouth. Any person, any person is afforded due process. Okay. Then you have the Ninth Amendment that the rights that are not deciphered, they're not written in the Constitution, that are not specific in the Constitution, right? Those same rights, it says the enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed. That means that those are not the only construction of rights. It means that the Ninth Amendment is stating that those rights which are invisible, also known as unknown rights, that are not written, clearly written, those are also retained by you, by the people, and they can't touch it. And then the 14th Amendment makes that an obligation under the Due Process Clause and the Equal Protection Clause, right? All those federal constitutional rights of the Bill of Rights under the Fourth Amendment I'm sorry, 14th Amendment, it makes it guaranteed that the states have to guarantee those rights under both the due process and equal protection clauses. It says logically simple, wrong. What's wrong? Clarify, brother. What's wrong? I don't know. What's wrong? Who's wrong?
Yeah,
Or
let's.
what's
What's
wrong? I'm
wrong?
understanding. It's
Yeah.
okay. We're open to discussion here.
Yep.
This is an information channel. This is so
Because
I
what's
like
on the
to know.
screen?
You can provide information.
Because what's on the screen says he's correct. So let's see how he's wrong. Type it in the chat.
So now you're asking me how where did I memorize this from? Three different books. Two of them are constitutional books, constitutional law books, and the other one is American jurisprudence books. And no,
And
American jurisprudence is not just one book. It's a whole encyclopedia, but that's not the end of all. There's other books besides that. And you have and remember, so when you're dealing with child support, you're dealing with states law, with state law. So meaning that the 10th Amendment guarantees that the feds can only intervene with limited jurisdiction. Why? Because we live in a republic, ladies and gentlemen. A republic. The feds were granted only a very limited amount of powers. That's why you don't have federal policing in the streets. That's why you don't have uh, federal courts. What is it? Full with people attending federal courts for cases, etc. Because of their limited jurisdiction. The majority is given to the states. That due process is in the states. And the states got to guarantee what's in the Bill of Rights through the 14th Amendment. Mm. And for
mm-hmm.
those of you who don't know, I'm going to decipher some constitutional differences from articles. What is it? Article 4, I believe. Clause 4. The privileges and immunities guaranteed to citizens. And then you have 14th Amendment privileges and immunities. There's a big difference. Article 4 reads something to this effect. Let me see if I remember it off the top of my head. But it says the the citizens of a state shall be entitled to the privileges and immunities in the different states. That means that when a citizen or a resident, let's say of Virginia, crosses over to West Virginia, right? West Virginia cannot just deny, just because he's an outsider, he's not a resident of West Virginia, he cannot deny him those privileges and immunities that provides to their own citizens. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
But those are only for citizens of the states, of each state residents. So that is a very limited protection, because that's only basically for people who reside within the jurisdiction of the United States. Then you have those who are United States citizens living abroad, right? Or living in the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, which are not states of the United States. And those are the ones who are protected under the 14th Amendment. There's a difference between that the privileges and immunities clause of Article 4 and the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment does establish that every state in the Union has to ensure that the privileges and immunities of citizens of the United States are respected.
Man. Well, man, my brother, I'm finna get ready
So,
and cut this thing
okay,
off. And any more last words you got to say, my brother?
just stand your ground. Each fight is different, but this is at the end of the day, the method is the same. And remember, if it's at the beginning stages, you gotta stop the bullshit before it starts. That's how easy this is. Mhm.
Well, people, we're about to sign off. You know how to contact him. You can contact
Or they
Panny
can
here.
contact you and send them to me as well. But check this out. One last thing. Sorry to interrupt, brother. In the military, for those who serve the military and have to go through this DS, right? To you, I salute you. And you know that there is a word that they tell you, your commanding officers or your NCOs, they will tell you, KISS. What is KISS? Keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
So that's all you have to do, man. Keep it simple, stupid. Stick to the subject. Don't let them take you around. Like this guy went to that suspension, or I don't know if it's a suspension, but he went for his driver's license proceeding, whatever. They still gotta give you a process, my brother. And he who is the accuser, who's trying to deprive you, has to prove that because it's a suspension of a liberty. Guess what? It's not by preponderance of evidence. It's the state trying to suspend a liberty, a right, a privilege, an immunity, um, or property, or disenfranchise you in any way, shape, or form. They are the ones who are to provide not preponderance of evidence, but actual evidence, right? Before they can convict you, because it's similar to a conviction when they deprive you of a driver's license, because they're
Mhm.
depriving you of liberty. They're restraining your liberty. And no, you do not have to be in custody for a liberty to be taken away from you. There's a case law on it that says that, and it changed the whole scheme. And I learned it when I was in jail, my brother. I still remember that. But I
Mhm.
was in jail for something else. It wasn't. I'd never been to jail for child support. Never have been arrested for child support. Never have had a warrant issued against me for non-payment of child support, because we live in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And and then one last thing, any foreigner that comes to this country, ladies and gentlemen, you have to educate them to leave their old ways, and they need to adapt to the United States. I did it. Look, I even learned English. Darn it.
Peace. I'm in the building.
Peace.
Peace.
I hear y'all talking.
Gee,
What we
Alex.
what we talking about?
We were just finna get off. What you got to say, my brother? Spill the beans.
Well, what do we want to know? I
Okay,
mean,
let's. All right. I got a question.
yup.
Um, what is the best thing to do when child support when you don't want to go get a job? What's the best thing to do after that? When you know they put a lien out on their social security number.
Well, first you gotta understand what America is built on. America is built on business and capitalism. It's the people, them individual selves attached to that social, that's responsible for the debt and who are the guinea pigs. So what you got to do is get yourself out of that and become a business. Because there's two type of account numbers. There's your social, which means social, everybody can dip into it, and you have your EIN, which is business that everybody can't dip into it. Corporations, you might as well say, got more rights than anybody,
Okay. I got Ramit Cobb. He want to answer a question.
right?
Ramit answer. Let me call him because he kind of. Wait a minute.
Re- really quick, what kind of rights do businesses have more than what is
Hold
it,
on,
than a
hold on, I'm gonna
natural
tell you.
person?
Hold on, I'm gonna tell you.
Hold on. Let me answer the question.
Yeah.
So the rights that a business has that a regular person don't have is, you gotta understand, one, a business is pure profit. A business is not responsible for the debt that the government spends. A business is
Hmm.
not responsible for giving out free money so people can get free shit. You know, Individuals that's attached to a social are made responsible for the debt. is made responsible to take care of other people for free, is responsible for a lot of debt and a lot of things that hurt you. Whereas businesses, if individuals are shielded by a business, you protect your assets. And here's the thing: if your business fail, you can just form a new business or rebrand it. Governments work
Yes,
best with businesses, and businesses are the arms of the government because the Constitution says the government is only limited what they can do to you. So what they do is they contract with other businesses to do things to you. So it's like what.
exactly.
Right.
Sorry.
So whereas you have constitutional rights that the government can infringe upon, what the government did was they created what's called the UCC. And that right there is what businesses are formed under UCC type of business, and the thing in the commercial codes rather. And the government uses these businesses to do things to you. The government authorizes these businesses, like the police department. That's a whole agency that the government uses, whether it be state or federal, uses to get at you. Yeah, there's certain limitations, but they given statute and codes. Okay, the Constitution don't have statute and codes, but businesses must follow statute and codes when they're contracted with the government. Okay, so you get way more protections as a business. I ain't got to pay nobody's debt. I could charge you to pay my taxes. So businesses are treated in high regard than individual people.
Awesome.
And what
Okay,
was your
really
boy's
quick,
question?
really quick. That means that the businesses, right,
Yeah.
use is exactly what I said. They pimp the government
Well,
to go get.
some businesses
Okay, go ahead.
do pimp. Some businesses do pimp the government, like your NGOs or a lot of those
Mhm.
businesses that was found under the Democrat Party. They were pimping the government to get free money and stuff like that. So yeah, it can work both ways.
Or the way Palantir and AI and all these other nerds now they're trying to use the government. They're pimping it, right, to get these suckers to pay more money. To and by the way, just to let you know, to add what G Alex saying here, and it's true. It's in the Bible. Jesus said it. You gotta give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. You can never escape Caesar, ladies and gentlemen, no matter where you are in the world.
Let me tell
That's
you
that's.
something.
He just
Let
said
me
why
tell
they
you
have.
something.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me debunk that. I'm not giving shit to Caesar. What I'm gonna do is, if Caesar wants something from me, I'm gonna pass that through and get it from somebody else. As a business,
Right.
as a business,
Mhm.
individuals must follow that. Individual
Correct.
citizens must follow that. Businesses are labeled as citizens
Different
also.
set, different. They're citizens, but they're limited, right? That's why they
Right.
call limited liability corporations a
Here's the thing.
corpse. It's
I'm
dead.
I'm
Not.
I'm a,
Go ahead.
I'm a,
Sorry.
I'm a seal that argument with this statement. You got to stop thinking poor and start thinking with a rich mindset. What do I mean? If you got child support issues, whatever, even if you can't get out of it, whoop de do. That just means you need to stop thinking as an individual and start working under a business. They can't touch you under a business. Don't you know you can form a business, a LLC, which is the most common, even if it was a sole proprietor, and pay yourself. Okay, you could
Hmm.
pay yourself $2, but your business is what's making the money. The problem is everybody can't do it because that means you have to come up with something that other people need. And the thing is, you can't go out here, and it's not easy. You got people out here trying to create easy shit, like, yeah, I'm gonna sell paperwork, or yeah, I'm gonna do this. And it's like, no, it takes work. Like Wasil, he has a skill trade. He has several skill trades. He can work on trucks, diesels, a whole kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But you got people who want to try to earn free money with no skill. You can't do that. You gotta provide people with something of value, and something that AI can't take over. Like AI cannot, like Wasil can work on diesel trucks. AI can't work on diesel trucks. If you're not willing to get your hands dirty, then stop trying to form a business. You know,
Can I add
But
to that? It's like it says in the Bible. It's like trying to build a house on top of sand
right.
dunes.
And let's say for example, if you had no skills, there's so much training out there that you can get. Even if you wanted to tap into AI, freaking go take an AI course and learn how to use AI because AI is the next .com bubble, and once AI take off, it's going to be very profitable. There's no way around that. AI is the next life form that's going to take over this planet.
Now, somebody got to answer a question. Answer your
All right.
question.
I'm just asking, should I get a job or how can I get a job and still be fighting them and beating them, knowing that they suspended license?
How can you get a job if they suspended your license? Was that the question?
But
Answer
why
one.
did they
He
suspend the
said.
license?
He said, "How can he
Yeah.
fight? How can he fight? Uh, while still getting
Child support or DMV.
or the DMV while still having a job? How can he get them? How can he do it?
Okay, how can he fight them while still having a job?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get what he's saying.
Right.
And that's a very real topic because some people been at their job for years. Some people are investing in retirement. Some people are older where they
Mm.
just can't stop working. So I get what he's saying. The thing is,
Yep.
if you are in that kind of attachment, you know, it is more important for you to come up with a side hustle. The easiest way to get out of this is come up with a side hustle. This just forces you to do what the American dream really is, and is to form a business. It's going to hurt. And I ain't going to lie, it's going to hurt. Why is it going to hurt? Because you don't have any knowledge of anything on how to do this. You don't know what niche, what business, or whatever. So it's going to force you to think outside the box that you normally are uncomfortable thinking. It can be done. It can be done. So because what they did was they got an attachment to your social security, which, like I said, is social. It's an open pot. Anybody can put their hand in. So if you are working under a social at a job, then you know I don't know what your situation is. I don't know what kind of fights or battles you had in the past, but there are a lot of people who are still working and still stuck in that system. The only difference is they're doing other things like investments. They're forming different kind of businesses, whether it be a physical business or whether it be an online business. Me and Wasi have been telling people this for the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Things are going to change. Get ready. Do what you got to do now because now AI is taking everybody's jobs, right? So don't be complicit. You got to act now. Learning is hard, especially if you've been out of school for a long time. Learning is hard, but learn something. Like I said, the easiest thing to learn right now is to learn how to do things online. You, you know, um, Even if you have to go to some kind of class, school, take a course to up your education, because sometimes education, people pay for education, but here's the problem. With AI, Chat GTP, people can educate themselves. You get what I'm saying? So, you got to provide some kind of product or something of value that people can use. Like for example, anybody can type in ChatGPT a question and they get an answer. But if you put on like courses, whatever, and teach people what you learn and show them what the resources are, you can get money from that. And I'm only saying it because people don't have skills. I don't know what your skills are. I don't know if you know how to work on cars, motorcycles. I don't know if you know how to pressure wash houses. That's a business, believe it or not. You know, so my thing is, you know, you have to form a side hustle. You have to form a side hustle. Some people's situation is worse than others. And I'm going to tell you right now, not everybody's going to escape that situation because some situations worse than others. Like, for example, if you're working at a job and you're making $10 an hour and every week or every 2 weeks they're taking $800 from you, that's essentially leaving you broke. That should force you want to come up with a side hustle, a legal side hustle. Because I'm gonna tell you what's going to happen. If it's an illegal side hustle, they're gonna catch up with you on that, and then not only are they going to catch up with you on that, they're going to get you on the child support thing too. We've seen that happen.
Can,
You know,
can I add to that really quick? Look,
Oh, one more thing. One more thing. As
yeah,
far as
what,
the
what?
driver's license go, Wasil did a video years ago on how to get that back. Years ago on how to get that back. So if you're trying to get your driver's license back, yeah, there's ways to get that back. That's one of the most common, easiest things to do. And if that's something you want to do, just ask Wasil the process or whatever, and he'll help you with that.
Yeah,
What's the,
go ahead,
right?
Jesse.
Right. That's exactly what I was gonna say. But yeah, on that part of the driver's license, it's one of the simplest ways. But to add to the side hustle and all that, I'm gonna keep repeating this, guys. The United States is the only country that facilitates. It's the only country that when you step on it, you can do anything. You got people hustling, cleaning up, scooping up dog poop. I'm serious. They're doing it. They're making money. They're making bank. Okay. Look, in the United States, before the IRS really convicts you because you didn't pay taxes and all that, it's the most lenient system, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm saying this because I was born in Mexico, right? Right now, I'm just gonna explain to you where you're at and how easy you got it in the United States. Oh, on this side of the fence. In Mexico right now, the constitution's been changed. They wipe their butts with it, all that over there. In the United States, the constitution is very hard for it to change, to be amended, etc. So we got that protection. But I'm gonna explain something to you. The the laws, the revenue laws in Mexico have changed that have given more power, and the SAT, which is what is it, the equivalent to the IRS in Mexico. Now it's authorized to cite you, just like you do with child support, cite you and bring you and put you in what is it, through a non-payment process, and hold you in what do you call it, a pre-trial hold, meaning that you're gonna be incarcerated and go through your process when you're incarcerated for non-payment of taxes. You ever heard of that in the United States? If you haven't, then it's not that hard. It's not complicated to come out of a hole. Okay, so don't let people tell you that it's impossible. Don't let negative things, negative circumstances, negative situations. Brother Wasil was with me when I had to start all over again. I had to start all over again from zero, from scratch. I lost it all, probably over $100,000 overnight. Okay, over some stupid people and stupid decisions of mine too, because who you let into your life, it's only your fault. It's nobody else's fault. So that's what happened to me. But anyway, so the point is, what G Alex said, if you're just dependent and attached to only one thing, that's gonna be your, that's what's gonna cause you to limit your ability to look for answers elsewhere. Now that you've seen the, that 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 only one attachment requires you ultimate, let's say allegiance, or right, dedication. It requires ultimate dedication. Now
Mm-hmm.
you're starting to ask yourself, well, I need to find something else because I can't provide this, what's expecting of me, right? So like he said, it's gonna trigger you to motivate yourself to come up with something new, something else. And if let's say you start a new side hustle, well, guess what? That shouldn't be the end of it. Start another one and another one and another one. I, acquire skills. Yes, AI is gonna take over, but it's not gonna be the end of all, because at the end of the day, you still need human
All right,
interaction,
look, look,
human
look, look,
decisiveness.
look.
Yeah,
All
go
right, check
ahead.
us out. Check it. I'm gonna give them something very practical they can do. Okay,
Okay.
it's like I said, you cannot be rich as an individual. It's not
Nope.
designed to be that way. The only way you can retain wealth is through a business. Through a business, you can get assets. You can buy a house. You can buy a car. They can't take your cars and nothing like that. But look, ChatGPT, you can download that. It's free. You ain't got to pay for no subscription. Type in that prompt. Hey, give me some side businesses that I could do. Hey, what are some popular side businesses that people need? I'm telling you, like he said, you could scoop up poop, you could do landscaping, you can pressure wash houses, which is a nice little niche because people pay you to spray off that dust and stuff on their houses, especially realtors. Even if it's like learning drone footage, learning how to get a drone, learn how to use a drone. The thing is, if you are in the system for child support, get other people to pay your child support by forming a business, charge the customers, add money is extra money that you're making. You get what I'm saying? Or it's so many. I can't give you the whole game here, but ChatGPT can give you so many ideas. And let's say, for example, hey Chat, tell me what I need to do to form a business in my state for landscaping. ChatGPT will give you a whole rundown of every step you need to do, even how much it's going to cost. Okay, there is no excuse in this day and time not to learn something or how to get yourself out of a situation. People panic. The way the human mind works is the human mind hates the unknown. The human mind hates not having knowledge. What happens is people get depressed, they become suicidal, they give up in life because they don't know their options. With ChatGTP, you can ask this thing and it will give you options. There is no excuse. Yeah, most of the time you're going to need like guidance from somebody. Like for example, ChatGPT is not always accurate. Like for example, the license thing. How can you keep your job, and still battle those people, whatever, get your license back? You know, ChatGPT can give you information, but then we got information that ChatGPT is not going to give you because, say for example, you can go to an attorney, and an attorney be like, well, if you want your license back, you got to go to court and you got to make a deal with these people. Whereas we come up and we be like, no, they doing some commingling shit, and your driver's license ain't got shit to do with that court. Has nothing to do with it, and it don't. The only reason they do it
Really quick.
is to wait a minute. The only
Sorry.
reason why they do it
Uh,
is to trick you or to get you to come in. People don't know you can fight that. Okay,
yeah.
and that's just going back to the answer. But I'm giving people real practical examples of how to evade a situation that they feel like they're stuck in.
Mhm.
Oh, they're taking my money. They keep me to court, whatever. I owe $50,000. No, the person that you're the social that you're attached to owes that money.
But
If
not
you form,
necessarily.
huh?
No, you don't know. You don't know squat. Nobody here owes squat. Who owes the money is the baby mama.
Let me
It's
tell
in
you
the
something.
Social Security Act.
What's it called? The what act?
The Social Security Act.
The Social Security Act. If you
The
have a Social
Socialist
Security,
Security Act. But who
let me
owes the
tell,
money is the
let me
baby mama. Not you.
no, no,
Nobody.
let
Nobody
me
here.
no. Let me
Yes,
tell you.
sir. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me tell you something. The reason why she takes you to court is to make a claim on your social because she's using resources. That's what it's really akin.
Correct,
Right.
correct, correct.
So
Yeah,
what
but
happens is,
at the end of the day, is she used it?
all
So
right,
I'm gonna
listen.
answer. I'm gonna answer Penny Eater because I defeated that in court. That
Let me
right
tell you
there.
something. Let me tell you
Okay,
something.
go ahead,
I'm
Alex.
telling you the reason for that defeat. Okay.
Go ahead.
The Social Security, as we agreed, is social. Anybody can dig their hands into it, right? Because the government controls that. Your Social Security card says it belongs to the Social Security Administration. It must be returned upon request.
Correct. Agree.
All right. Now, what they do is they attach a lien to your social.
Why?
Okay. Because there's a claim made against you for the money on that. Say, for example, the
Who
government.
made the claim?
Listen, listen to me.
Who made the claim?
Listen, listen to understand and
I'm
not
asking a
listen.
question. Who
Listen
made the
to under.
claim?
Listen to understand and not listen to respond. I'm giving
No,
you the
I
game.
listen to. I'm asking a question. That's why. Who made the claim?
You can't listen and talk at the same time. Listen, I've been doing this for over a decade. I've been inside the courtroom, in the basement, in the records room, in the video room. There's nothing,
Mhm.
really, nobody anywhere on this internet can tell me. I've been in the trenches. I sat in courtrooms and I've seen people get treated like this. Okay? Listen to what I'm telling you. I get what you're saying. But what I'm telling you is the
She didn't answer my
system is
question, G. Alex.
the system is made to give people free shit. And what they did was they came up with a reimbursement. So if she gets welfare or something, then what they did was
Mm-hmm.
they came up with this system where, hey, we need to be reimbursed for this. Hey, make a claim against the child's father. Since we're giving the child free shit, somebody's got to pay us back. Let's put it on him. Sue him to get it from his social security account. Okay? You got to understand. Did you remember?
Yeah, cool.
You
But who made
remember
the claim?
the bitch made the claim. Or or the state
No,
made the
no.
listen,
The state
listen.
made the claim.
No, I listen. See, I was going to get to that if you stop talking. The bitch makes the claim, or the state makes the claim based on the free shit that they give the woman. So if the woman goes and say, "Hey, I need food stamps, snaps, whatever," the government is going to say, "Oh, wait, there's a father on this birth certificate. We need to get reimbursement from this dude. How come this dude ain't taking care of his child?" Okay, that's what they look at. Not saying it's true, but the bitch makes the claim that the father ain't in the child's life. But that's neither here or now. Okay?
Okay.
What okay. So what I'm saying is if you're operating under a social security, it is free game for everybody. That's why jobs ask you for it. That's why your driver's license number is attached to your social. You could say, I'm not giving you my social, but if you give them a driver's license and it has that driver's license number, that's linked to your social. The only reason why they took the social off your driver's license because people were making a claim about it. Like, hey, this is my privacy. Why is it on here? So they was like, all right, fine. We're going to give you a driver's license number, but it's still attached to your social. That's why when police officers run your ID, they can find exactly who you are by your social. Okay? So get out of the
Or when you
social.
come from abroad, or when you come from abroad through an airport or any port of entry, you still got to go through customs with your ID. They can find exactly what you said, your social. Yes, sir.
Correct, correct. So I'm not saying you're wrong about anything. I'm just explaining it a little bit
No, I'm
deeper.
just asking a question
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
want to
that's
reiterate.
fine. That's
Going back
fine.
to the
That's fine.
topic of tonight and what's
Well,
on
I don't,
on the screen, because
okay.
there's a
All
lot
right.
of
What's on the
vagueness
screen?
to it.
What's on the
On the
screen?
screen, it says notice of termination of assignment, and child support services.
Okay.
What
All
does
right.
that mean?
Hold on. Let me look at the screen. Let me look at it. I'm walking around and I'm talking. All right.
And I agree with
Notice of
Danny here.
termination of
That
assignment and child support services. Okay. What that means is, and you don't see this too often, that means the child support services have been terminated,
that's my
which means
situation,
that,
by the way.
right, I know, yeah, I know, which means there's no more child support. Here's the thing everybody is different. Like
Danny
you've
does
been
have one.
fighting.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah, right.
you've been fighting since day one. Okay? They don't like fighters, especially fighters who know what they're doing and what they're talking about. Because what you're doing is you're creating court calls. And if you just going in there and wasting their time because they can't do shit to you, this is what people don't understand is you have the right to defend yourself. You just can't go in there and take a claim that they put on you. You've been fighting since day one. The problem is everybody can't do this because they haven't been fighting since day one, or they've been going to the wrong people and messed their case up. When you mess your case up, guess what? They're no longer going to listen to you. The higher courts are not going to honor anything you say because they're going to look at the record and they'll be like, oh, what kind of common law Rick W. stuff is this? Oh, what kind of Yah's magnified stuff is this? The man, the person. Let me tell you something. There was a letter that was sent among the court system notifying every judge in every state about these arguments. Every judge is familiar with the straw man. Every judge is familiar with the person. I'm not the person. They're familiar with that. And they're all been given instructions not to listen to you because people don't realize a straw is something that you come up with that has nothing to do with the subject. That's what a straw means. You are not arguing the subject. Even on a defensive level, You are not defending yourself against. You're not defending yourself properly against the claim. If I said, "Hey, JC, you owe me crackers and cheese," excuse me, I am not the straw that you are talking to. But you did not deny that you owe me crackers and cheese. You see how that works? Can you tell me what jurisdiction this is? Still, you did not rebuttal that you owe me crackers and cheese. A straw is just another way of changing the subject without talking about why you're there. They are hip to this. They're gonna look at their blah, he's the land. He owes it.
Let me intervene. Let me intervene. Y'all
I
just
used
gave.
that before. Go ahead. But anyway,
Let me intervene. Both of you just gave me an idea, brothers, and we're gonna
Hmm.
discuss this off the phone. Cause both of y'all just said two remedies. I'm not sure anybody didn't pick up, but y'all gave me two new remedies. You know what I mean?
I picked it up. I
Yeah,
don't
Huh?
think Alex sees it. He
Yeah,
gave
yeah.
up
yeah, yeah.
some stuff. He doesn't see it. And I said it at the beginning. You got to look at the numbers, and you got to look
Well,
at
this
positive and
is
negative stuff. Go ahead.
well, this
Sorry.
is what happens. This is what happens when all three of us get on the phone. People listening right now, they don't understand. This is how we brainstorm, and this is because things open up. If people are listening right now, if you can comprehend what we're saying, you'll see exactly what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
And I want to answer. I want to answer Panny Eater because Panny Eater's been in Sham Stoppers. I mean, this guy's been all over. He's listened to other people. Panny Eater and I we listened to another dude. He had some remedial stuff that worked out for the time being. His name was Mark Stevens, right? Anarchism stuff don't work. So just to let you all know, anarchism it's a wet dream for people who want to be robots and who don't want to think. In the United States, it's a monarchy, or it's a monarch republic, meaning that you as the man of the house, you have your kingdom, your castle. That's why you got a castle doctrine, right? You are the king, and your nuclear family is your nation inside your home. Okay, and then, so since you are the king, you are the sovereign. No, this is not sovereign citizenship. Yes, it does say that. The Supreme Court said the United States citizens are the sovereign. That's why the government, whether through legislative action, through the judicial decision, or executive, like Orange Man over here, who says he can take away the citizenship of persons not born or whatever, you can't do it.
but
No,
guess what,
neither three of the government can do it.
JC?
Why?
Guess
Because
what?
okay, give me a second. Let me explain this. I got this from a book, from a lot of federal books, a lot procedural federal books, and I dug through it, and nobody can tell me this because I use this in my case. A citizen has to voluntarily relinquish, even if he committed acts that would be what you call them expatriatory acts. That means the cost expatriation. Still, the government cannot take away your citizenship, even if you committed those acts, because you have to voluntarily relinquish your citizenship and your intention. So there's two prongs: the voluntary relinquishment, and that your intention is, in fact, to give up your citizenship. Until then, the government cannot sever its allegiance and relationship to its sovereign, the citizen. It says right there. And I can tell you which book it is off the top of my head and what page I found it on, but I'm not going to say it here on this live stream. But, anyways, go ahead, G. Alex.
No. So everything you said was correct. But there are so many tricks out there that they do against you to manipulate you and to get you out of those protections. And he said, in the Constitution, you're a citizen. Okay. Corporations are considered citizens too. Okay. They're considered
Yep.
persons. And the
Yep.
government favors corporations because the government can't do anything without corporations, right? And the corporations is what bring the state money. Now, with that being said, the government is more willing to protect you as a corporation than as a citizen. They're gonna look at you like, oh, it's just another little peon among society. that we can do anything to, blah blah blah, or whatever. They can't provide us value because see, in America, it's about providing value, and businesses, corporations provide the government with value because they collect taxes, right? And they allow the government to do things in society that the government can't do directly. Okay, so some
No, I get it.
corporations control. Listen, some corporations, a lot of corporations control the government. How is it that corporations are now controlling the government? The corporations hold the power. But here's the thing: the corporations are neither government. They're not government at all, but they're in control. So what that means is corporations can do anything the hell they want, right? So we've been bamboozled to think that, oh, being a regular citizen, we're going to be protected and stuff. No, it's the corporations that dictate what happens to us. These politicians are human. They want money. Okay? So the thing is, when they look at a regular person, Joe Smo, like even a senator, when a senator is out in public, they got bodyguards and everything because they look at you as an underdog. You are nobody, right? So, and it's like, why are they making more money than you and they work for you? It's the corporations, okay? So, and that goes back to the argument as, are you protected more as a citizen or a corporation? Okay, and if your corporation becomes powerful enough or influential enough, it doesn't necessarily have to be power, but influential, then yeah, you can control the government. Like if your business has $1 million or more, whatever in revenue, the government is gonna look at you and be like, oh, hey, how you doing, sir?
Right.
You
Right,
get what I'm saying?
but Penny Eater wants to answer his questions. We haven't answered that.
What's that?
G
What's
Alex,
that?
that's the same stuff you keep saying, man. And don't take it as disrespect, right? You and I have different opinions. I believe that the government and the banks are my bitches. I am like Pancho Villa with his two viejas a la orilla, like his two ladies by the side. That's just how I am. And that's
So the
how I want to think,
government,
dude.
so the government and the banks
It's
are
my
your
little
bitch.
bitch, and so it's anybody who works for the government or works or anybody listen to me. Anybody who works for the government, you've basically been saying this over and over. Anybody who works for the government, whether directly or indirectly, will be the bitch of those who put the government and the banks to work. You
Okay.
just said it.
So
You
explain to me,
explained it. Oh, you went all around, but you're basically saying the same thing. But I need to answer,
explain
Penny,
to
if you
me,
allow me.
explain to me how the government and the banks are your bitch. What benefit are you getting?
Easy. Those who know exactly what we're talking about, this system, have been using it, right? Like you said, the creation of companies, the creation of that. At the end of the day, you still need that human to put that entity to work, which is that company, that corporation, if you want to call it that agency per se, right? And so that agency goes and uses the bank because you're making the currency current by moving it. It's got to move for it to have value. So look. I'm gonna give you all some game right here, especially with the guy that goes abroad, comes and goes, and understands the protections that citizens have from different countries. Right? I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm a Mexican citizen, and so on and so forth. But you get the idea. So listen, when you send money abroad, like, and this is why the deportations are happening. So I said it in other channels. I was invited to other channels in Latin America. I'm not just, and explain about this, and I'm gonna say it again. The reason they're doing all these mass deportations of the so-called illegal aliens is for two reasons. But I'm gonna give you the number one. What you keep talking about, the money thing. Okay. Now, I used to be an executive for different companies. I was in charge of hiring, firing, and they take you through trainings on how to decipher documents to fill out the I-9. So anybody who has applied for a job, you got to fill out an I-9. Some companies are use the A-Verify system, which is a different service that the federal government provides to verify that the identification or that the employee the candidate who's going to be employed, what is it provides to make sure it's valid. The person's authorized to work. That's it. So it's the work authorization, whether you're a citizen, a permanent resident with a permit to work. That the Social Security is valid, et cetera, et cetera. Because there's different types of Social Security. What is it? Numbers for different purposes. So some of them have to be authorized by DHS, others by INS, and others are just not really authorized by the Social Security Administration, depending on the category of person that you are in the United States. Yeah. So going back to it, right, Gee, Alex. So I'm saying this because I'm not new to this, man. So going back to it, and I have to answer Pan Eater's questions about non-TANF things, right? Because those are the easiest ones to win. Those cases are the easiest ones to win. Um, this is my experience. I'm telling you my experience. So when you send money abroad, right, through Western Union, through bank transfers, etc., right, from the United States into other countries, what you're doing a currency exchange. You're basically disposing of the U.S. dollar and are giving preference to another currency. This is for transfers, right? For people that come and work in the United States and send money abroad, whether it's to their bank accounts, to family members' bank accounts, cash pickups, you name it, Western Union, MoneyGram, and whatever other services they do, right? So what is that doing to the US dollar? It's devaluing it. It's bankrupting it because then that currency is not giving current. It's not moving, so it's devaluing it. For instance, if you go back to we're gonna talk about the peso per dollar exchange and why there's that conflict of commerce that you keep talking about, the commercial um, clash that's going on between the government of Mexico and the U.S., which I favor neither. Just so that way everybody's aware here, I favor neither one of them clowns. Um, but I want to say 2024, 2025, the US dollar was, what is it, 20 pesos to purchase one US dollar. So you had to get 20 pesos, gather 20 pesos, Mexican pesos, to purchase one US dollar. Right now, you are using less pesos to purchase the US dollar. Do you all know why? Because the peso is being used now by the Mexican citizens more than what the dollar is being used. Does that make sense? So that country is giving preference to its own currency. Once another country, that the people of that country to make exchanges, they don't accept the dollar anymore, or they'll give it a less value. For instance, if I go to Mexico, to Cancun, just an example, to live la vida loca for a little bit, and I bring a dollar, they're not gonna say, well, the current market exchange online is 18 pesos for $1. They're gonna say, no, we will give you only 16 pesos of value for that one US dollar. What did they just do? What did the market just do arbitrarily? That person right there, he devalued the dollar even more. So one thing is what the internet tells you the value should be, the banks tell you the value should be, and another thing is what the actual market one on one at hand would be. So when it comes to that stuff, I'm not new to this because I don't just deal with that with the Mexican peso currencies. I have other currencies from other different countries. I do understand that. I want to talk about this. Is this some BRICS nations that? No, 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 no. I'm not going to get into that pan here. So what I'm trying to explain, G. Alex, is that's the reason of the deportations. The second part, it's an overreach of the federal government to basically bypass what we've been talking about in this podcast. Due process, my brother. Due process. It doesn't matter which political party it is, which political parasite maybe. This country was established under the fundamentals that the federal government has very limited powers to exercise. Part of it, like it is the commerce clause, right? That's how they regulate. That's how they regulate agriculture. That's how they regulate interstate agriculture. By the way, interstate commerce of firearms, interstate commerce of controlled substances, right? Because the states made them legal. Well, you got to respect state rights, state law. So long as you don't cross international borders or interstate borders, then the feds have very limited jurisdiction to certain exceptions. If it affect only the only time they can enforce that law if the allowance of that commerce intrastate, right? And this goes back to agriculture. You can look up a case in California, right? If that intrastate activity in commerce may affect interstate commerce or international commerce, then the federal government has the authority to regulate. That was the exception that the Supreme Court established in favor of the federal government. That's for those that couple that was growing weed in California. It's a very famous case, by the way.
Let me ask you a
So
question.
this all has to do right. Okay, so go ahead, Alex.
No, let me ask you a question. So you are correct. Federal, state has limited arm to reach you, right? That's what you said, right? Isn't that what you said?
What now?
I say you said the federal government and even the states really have limited arm reach to affect you because of the Constitution, right?
Of constitutional provisions, right? Right.
Right, right. And you
Article
must
8,
give
Article 10, two
right,
different
right.
positions
And
of
you
the
must have
Constitution.
due process, and you must have due process in order for them to infringe upon your rights per the Constitution, correct? 14th Amendment and others,
Besides
right?
the 14th Amendment, you still got Fifth Amendment, and
Right,
you
right,
have
right.
all those
Just
rights
to
in the
name
Bill of
one.
Rights.
Right, right. Just to name one.
Yeah.
Now, do the Constitution apply to corporations?
They can.
No,
It can. You
no.
sure? Are you sure? Are you
Corporations
sure?
are, listen to me, corporations are legal persons. They don't necessarily have to follow the Constitution. They can follow
That's false.
they can follow what their charter says when they form the business. So
You ready for
all those
this?
so the government uses corporations to get at people behind the scenes.
I'm gonna give you the answer.
What's the answer?
So the Constitution is not the only federal protection you have. You have what you call substantive rights, which are created by statute. Go look up 42 USC 1981
I'm familiar
and
with
look up the third
substantial
clause. I
rights.
think it's
I'm
clause
I'm
C.
familiar with substantial rights.
No, no,
You
no.
mentioned due
Okay,
process.
but can you look it up and go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Go look it up. Go to see what exactly what it reads.
What I'm saying is,
No, no, no. Okay, you asked the question. I have to answer it, man. Otherwise, we're gonna confuse a lot of people.
as
That's
no,
not my purpose here.
no,
I'm not trying to be right, dude.
I'm speaking
Uh,
plain English. I own a business. Okay, my mentors own $1 million businesses. They don't have to follow the Constitution like the government does. That's why governments contract with companies to do things to you, like the police
you ready
department.
for this?
Like the police department.
I'm
This
gonna read you
doesn't have
section
due
C of
process.
42 USC 1981.
I, but this doesn't
I'm gonna read
apply
it.
to
I'm gonna read
international
it.
courts. Read it.
I'm gonna read it, and you are about to. Actually, I'm gonna start with B, which is what we're talking about, or the contractual nature, the liberty clause, which is the contractual nature, which has to do with what you're talking about, the commercial clause. It's all contractual.
Okay.
Section B says, make and enforce contracts define. For purposes of this section, the term make and enforce contracts includes making, performance, modification, and termination of contracts, and the employment of all benefits, privileges, terms, and conditions of the contractual relationship. Then, C, the protection against impairment. The rights protected by this section, the statute, right, are also
Mhm.
protected against impairment by non governmental discrimination and impairment under color of state law. What did it say?
You're talking about
Non-governmental
you're talking
discrimination.
about you're talking about discrimination, and I have an
Yeah, but
argument with
that's a due
everybody.
process violation, my brother.
No, I'm not talking
Discrimination
about.
is due process.
I'm not talking about discrimination, JC. I'm not
But
talking about
that
that.
discrimination is due process. It's a process, my brother. When I make a decision to choose this over that, that discriminatory act is called. It's
Okay,
a process.
I am going
And
to tell
what
you.
I
I,
do, society as a whole, it's equality.
all
It's
right,
that
I'm going
guarantee.
to give
That's what it's
you.
called, do, my brother.
Listen to me. I'm going to give you words of wisdom. You can take it or you can let it alone. Are you
Right.
ready? Are you ready? Statute and codes mean nothing until you get the case
I hate when people bring
Okay.
up statutes and codes, but don't tell me case law. It depends, and case law is dependent on the situation and what happens. It doesn't apply to everything. I'm
All right.
speaking. Okay, it's good you know that because you can use that in court, but you can't use that alone. This is why people lose.
That's not true. That's not true. I have used it against private parties.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
See, that's
Donald
what I'm saying.
Trump.
You don't know my story, G Alex.
What?
I'm trying to be
I'm not.
amicable
I'm
here, my
not
brother.
talking. Listen, I'm not talking about your anecdotal experience. I'm talking about in the masses. I'm not talking about discrimination. I'm talking about what corporations can do to us. Per the instructions of the government on a broader
Right.
scale. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying look more broader of what I'm talking about. I'm not refuting anything you say. I'm just adding on extra tidbits. Anyone who knows the statute and codes, great. But you have to know case law or else it doesn't give the judge power to act on that statute. So yes, you
You're
just
partial correct on that statement and partially wrong
what
because
I don't
not
need you to be
everything has been defined through case law.
this is
That's
what
why you adjudicate the definition
it
of it
has.
in
It
courts
has to
or
be.
whatever tribunal it may be.
It has to be.
Okay,
That's why federal. That's why these courts are
my
going to have
brother.
to do Trump with case laws, or they have to interpret it through case law to make it valid.
Hmm.
Statute and codes
My
are
brother.
nothing without case law.
Okay, listen. What you just brought up about whether you need case law, you don't need case law. That is not
You need
necessarily true on its
you
face.
need case law.
Listen, listen. No, you don't. No, you don't. Listen. In the Martinez Fuerte case, which is what every what is the federal agent that works for DHS, right? That whether it be TSA, it'll be uh, any INS officer, CBP, Border Patrol, and the name to name a few of the agencies on DHS. Okay, they'll use Martinez Fuerte when they stop you and say, "Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you not a U.S. citizen?" I don't give a fuck about Martinez Fuerte because the statute is clear and concise about what your authority is. You understand? And Martinez Fuerte had nothing to do as a case law with what you're trying to impose. Martinez Fuerte, and I'm going to break this down for those of you who don't know Martinez Fuerte and you pass through checkpoints in the United States, immigration checkpoints. Okay? Martinez Fuerte was a case law where this guy was actually trafficking illegal aliens and passed them through the checkpoint, right? So in that criminal case, you have something called exclusionary rule that applies to um, what you call it, fruit of the poisonous tree, or to basically impeach on illegally obtained evidence. And his claim was that that evidence, the testimony, right, should be excluded because he said that the checkpoints violated the Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution by being permanently present there, right? And the Supreme Court didn't really decide much on it, with the one he just put the exception. Yeah, checkpoints are authorized under 8 USC 1357 of the INA, whether they're temporary or permanently. See, gee, Alex, I have a memory of a cat. My memory is really short. I can't remember stuff. I can't even quote books. I can't even quote statutes or all that stuff that you're trying to tell me, right? So I don't know how I got off child support. I don't know why. I guess I was lucky, right? But whatever it is, that dream that I had, that what I'm telling you about right now, right? That shit's thrown at me time after time. Every time I pass through one of these checkpoints, right? But because I know the opposite, the mirror effect of what that statute says, it's called what it's not written, the stuff that is not being said, and the stuff that is not being heard, right? Then you ask a question accordingly. Does that make sense? So the Martinez Fuerte debunks their whole case as to why they should ask you about your citizenship. What does that mean? So Martinez Fuerte, he wanted the exclusionary rule to apply to exclude the evidence, the testimony obtained that he was crossing legal aliens because the checkpoint was a violation of the Fourth Amendment, the Constitution, because of their limited powers, etc. Well, the Supreme Court put the exception there. It was the first case law, right, establishing as to it doesn't it's not specific in Congress They're not writing statute the specificity as to where the checkpoint should be established, and it just says the checkpoint should be established within a permissible distance from the border, but it doesn't establish there's no specificity. So when there's no specificity in statute, the courts would create what we're talking about, substantive rights. They will substantiate the vagueness of the statute. Does that make sense? And so they will create case law on that. But they're not. Martinez Fuerte does not use any case law. Does that make sense? So they were just looking kind of like for an injunctive relief to dismantle that. Martinez Fuerte lost. He was convicted, etc. So now they use the Martinez Fuerte, and the false claim of the federal agents would be because we got Martinez Fuerte that authorizes you just to be here, to be here. No, Martinez Fuerte does not authorize you because Congress is the only one with the ability to permit you to do that. But I'm not going to get to that discussion. I don't get into that discussion with stupid people like that in uniform. I just don't, bro. So I just let them blah, 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 blah. But they still didn't answer my question. You inquire about my citizenship, right? Well, the Fourth Amendment provides, I don't need case law for this, bro. The Fourth Amendment provides reasonableness before you can deprive me of my privacy. I don't even have to use United States versus Cats, Jones versus United States, and so many other privacy case laws. I'm not going to litigate with somebody, with part of the executive branch, because they don't even know what the hell they're talking about, bro. What I'm trying to explain to you, Alex, it's case law. It's not binding case law. And Wasilkamilbey's been saying it over and over again in this channel. Case law, it's no more than an opinion, and opinions can be changed at any time by other opinions in the latter when you discover different things. So that's not the law. Anyways, I wanted to point that out. Now I want to answer. I want to answer you, Penny Eater. So on the TANF cases, when there's non-TANF, if the state is making a claim, they still, under due process, they have to provide you with the claim, the actual claim that they have against you. They have to provide you evidence. They have to supply you why they're making a claim against you, why you owe them child support, right? Because we already know TANF, the assignment of rights. That's what it says right there. Baby mama assigned the rights, so they provided those support services in exchange for those rights. Now they got to collect on their behalf, on her behalf. But the state is the actual beneficiary of the child support case, not the baby mama, the state, and they gotta provide as to what claim they have against you. If not, what is it that they usually file when you sue them in court? Failure to state a claim. Well, guess what? You can also dismiss for failure to state a claim. Don't you think? I hope that answers your question. That's just me, right? That's how I would do it, Pan Eater. I don't know. I don't know if that answers your question on that. Are we still on, brother Wasil? I don't know.
Yeah, man. I hear you. I'm sitting here listening. I heard both of y'all. Both of y'all correct. It's just two legal minds. Y'all both have great legal minds going at it. You know what I mean? And that's what we need to give people different ideas. You were correct about the opinions of case law, right? And he was correct at the same time. But you know how we got all this testosterone over here, and that's like I want to hear
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm glad y'all
Mhm.
going. You know what I mean? Expressing y'all legal minds, man. Y'all on point,
But
dude. Y'all been giving me ideas here. I'm just listening. You know what I mean? So I got awesome idea, and I'll talk to you when we get off. Now, Penny, they got another question for. Hold on.
there it is. That's what you ask them. I just said. I remember I said about the substantive rights. That's what I would ask them. Okay, but what is your claim against me? It's unconcise. So, for instance, if I was so I'm so where Brother Wasil fights a lot the most against the child support in Texas, right? Usually you have a lot of clients from Texas. There is there is a statute that calls, or no, statute or a rule that calls, which is called special exceptions. It's kind of like a motion to dismiss, but that means that you are asking for more clarity because as a defendant, as a respondent, I wouldn't be able to defend against the claim. The claim is vague, it's unconcise, so they have to either provide that. They got 30 days. If they don't, then they'll have to throw the case. They have to dismiss it. I don't know which state you would be at, but you'll look for something to that effect of what I would file is a motion to dismiss for failure to state a claim. In federal court, it will be Rule 8, right? In state court, depends on in what state you're in. So you got to look at that. um, because if I start going by this, by that, and telling you every case is different, my situation was different, Brother Wasil's was different, and a lot yours is different, everybody's is different. So if it's an untanaf case, and let's say the state of Arizona, right? They try to take me, right? Let's say Arizona, right? The child support agency, uh, DCS, I think that's what they're called. DCS tries to take me that I owe them child support. They have to provide me substantiation for the claim. Who did what, when, where, and why? That's what I learned in English. Well, when I was taking classes, English as a second language, my reading classes, to get the main idea. The main idea, it's who did what, when, where, and why, and they have to answer those questions with specificity. If they can't answer, me personally, they don't have a claim. That's the way I look at it, and they have to dismiss the case. And second of all, then that they will have to dismiss it for subject matter jurisdiction, because then the court will be inappropriate because there's no they haven't quoted what gave the court jurisdiction. There's so many things. Mark Stevens talks about the jurisdiction part, my brother. So uh-huh. So how did you create the debt? He says, yeah, if you're gonna put a debt on my back, I want concrete evidence that you gave me exactly how did you benefit. I'm gonna give you a case law for example, and this had to do with it's a case law that I use, right? But basically, the way I read the situation was like this: if I go to a bank, right, and I ask for a loan, and then I say, well, I don't agree to the terms of the contract. I put it in writing, I make it evident, and I receive the benefit, and then I say, hey, I didn't agree to the terms of the contract, so I don't owe any money. Dude, but I benefited from the transactions because I received the benefit. There's a legal binding document that says, hey, you owe this debt. But if you didn't get it, you gotta look to see who's the benefactor of that debt, who received the monies of that debt before they can impose collection on you, right? That's the way I look at it. And they have to provide to you everything directly, with specificity. It has to be clear, with clarity. Otherwise, no person would be able to defend. It'll be a violation of due process. That's the way I would look at it. I don't know. What you think, brother Wasil?
That sounds good to me.
hmm So imagine just if that's the case, anybody can just send you a bill in the mail and tell you, hey man, you owe me this, and you pay it back. Nobody benefited. It's non-TANF. So who's suing? The baby mama or the state agency? Who's the petitioner?
For the
Let me go back.
non-tandem,
They created that.
for the non-tandem,
Right, but who is the petitioner? The state or the baby mama? That's the real questions. No, no, the state. No, the state can't go on behalf of the baby mama. But the state never does. Never does. The state only looks for the state's interest. It's right. It's right there in Blessings versus Freestone. They don't. The beneficiary of the statute of the child support collection scheme, it's the state. Even in the state, where the emulation of the federal law, the child support law that's created in federal statute, the state emulates one to apply within their state, right? And the beneficiary of that statute, it's the state, not the baby mama. So you gotta read exactly what's written. Who did what, when, where, and why. It does say that. Huh. It sounds like they're trying to scheme in on something new, brother Wasil. Because remember, we've been following his situation. It seems like they're trying to go, but I just said the back door with a different scheme. We'll have to. I would have to look at your paperwork, man, to see what it says. Wow, that's interesting. I would never thought the state would do that. Yeah, if you get food stamps, you gotta pay it back, man. Nothing is free in America. G. Alex just said it. Yeah, if you get food stamps, man, I have I don't want to insult you, but I do want to say the truth, man. You're a leech. So you're a food stamp. If you're a food stamp king or queen, you deserve everything you get. Yeah, you gotta pay back. I will make you pay taxes. I will send the state, my bitch, to get you for those food stamp or welfare queens and kings. I will send the state after you. Anyways, pan eater. Yeah, I guess we'll have to look at it. I have to look at your. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it says Florida sues you on behalf of the. Yeah, but if you're getting food stamps and you agree, then you pay. So there you go. Yeah, you owe the state. Pay him back. Pay him back their money that you used, man. You should have built a business with that and moved on with your life. That's why it's called temporary assistance for needy families. You're needy. A man full of testosterone is not needy. You don't need anything from anybody. You have things. You have the mentality of I have, not that I need.
Right. Well, y'all.
Bitches leave needy men. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I'm finna go end this live, man. It's been good. We had
Hmm.
he said he don't receive food stamps. She does.
Okay. Well, is she your wife, your spouse? Were you married? Because that also makes a difference. Or is she receiving food stamps for the children on behalf of the children? That's your children. Then that's a different scenario.
Yep, that's different.
Yeah,
Yep,
because
yep.
if you're married, then you gotta look as to why she's receiving food stamps, right? Which me, I will tell my bitch, you can't go apply for food stamps. You're married to me. I just said it. I'm the king of this castle. If you go and apply, I will go and dismantle it, and I'll put you in jail for being a traitor, trying to find another man, call the state, trying to replace me. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, because I'm listening.
Mhm.
Somebody just texted me, Ramit, and I tried to tell him a long time ago. It used to be called. He said, "I thought the food stamps was a grant." Yeah, back in the
Nope,
day, they made it a grant. Well, still they make it a grant, but the state turns it into a loan on to the people
it
to
is a
pay it
loan.
back.
No, the
Right.
states receive grants.
Yes.
The state receives grants from the federal government when they recoup the money back that they lent out. That's
Mm-hmm.
the grant is it's a reward. It's an award. It's kind of like if you go to college, they tell you you receive a federal grant for going to college when you fill out your FAFSA, right? You have subsidized loans. That means that the federal government injects money into those loans from these private entities like Sally Mae, for example, right? See, I'm not just talking all this stuff that I tell you guys. I don't tell you because I heard, I read. This is experience, personal, private experience of mine. Brother Wasil knows that, right? So when you apply for that, that's why you gotta pay the loans, man. Pay your loans back. You ask for a debt, pay your loans back. Now, if it's a grant, they're giving it to you. But remember, there's a writing in the Bible that says if you are invited in front of a king, right, to sit at his table and he presents to you a delicious dish, and you're easily given into appetite, my son, before you taste a piece of that, put a dagger to your throat. In other words, it says because the dish that's presented before you is devious, it's deceptive. It always comes with a price, my brother. There's no free shit in this world, man. There's no grants in this world. So you don't know what you're receiving from the Fed. I want nothing for free from the government. I am saying this right now. I want nothing for free. Brother Wasil knows that I'm willing to pay the price and then some to get what I want, especially from
Right.
the government,
Stop, boy.
because I don't want them to later on come tell me, look what I did for you. No, you
Yeah,
didn't do
man.
shit
Well, I'm
for me.
gonna end this
Anyways,
live,
all
man.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate you for coming up, sharing your
All right.
testimony. We've been on here almost 2 hours. And
Oh, okay. Pan Eater, hit me up, man.
man. Peace, brother. Thank you for coming on.
All right.
Giving people some game and some remedies, my brother. I sure appreciate you. You and G Alex and everybody came through
Yeah.
to ask questions. And y'all have a blessed night.
All right. Thank you, brother. Wasil.
I said
Bye-bye.
good night.